What's up, Picks and Roll family? Welcome back to the channel. We're all about smart plays, bankroll building, and finding those daily edges. Before we dive into today's 3 picks, quick shout out to our partners. First, Betr is hooking up new users with $10 free, plus a 50% deposit match up to $200 when you sign up with code DIME. And if you're looking on Underdog Fantasy, use code LOB and get a deposit bonus to start your roll. Just play $50 and you'll get $50 in bonus funds. Here's the best part. Send me your screenshot of either sign-up to picksandrolldfs@gmail.com and I'll give you a free month of VIP in my winnable. That's daily premium slips. Absolutely free. So make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. We're building that roll every single day. Let's get into our first play. We're going with Alyssa Thomas higher than 6.5 assists. Now the line, I believe, starts at 8.5, and we know that she is great at dishing the rock and facilitating and getting other people open, setting up success for other players. But this is a game 3, and I know that she is going to be very aggressive in terms of finding her own shots. So what I wanted to do, one, is get back on that hot streak. So I wanted to limit the obstacles in our way and kind of lower that first option. So it was at 8.5. I want to see it at that 6.5 for this game, seeing that she might be more of an offensive scoring weapon instead of facilitator. That doesn't mean that she still won't get at least 6. As we can see over the year, if we look at our data, she has averaged 9 this entire season. Now, because this is the playoffs, we will take a glimpse at the last few games and see how she's fared in that regard. And we can see against the Liberty in the last 2 games of this series, she's had 8 assists and 7 assists. So that 6.5 line keeps us a bit safe because this is the lowest range that she's had thus far in the series. And if we go to the head-to-head matchups, we can see that over the last 2 years, she has averaged 8. Now, putting us at that 6.5 gives us a little buffer. It gives us space. As we can see, the lowest that she's cashed in terms of this line has been 7, and she has been below this line just 1 time in the last 2 seasons. We can also see that in terms of how the Liberty defend or allow assists to forwards, they are ranked 7th, averaging just 6.8 per game. Now again, this is the game 3, do or die. Winner moves on. So we could see, and we should expect Alyssa Thomas to put on one of her best performances, similar to what like Asia Wilson did last night. And that is why I believe that Alyssa Thomas, although she has not cashed this line consistently, the over in this series, as we can see, she went under that 8.5 the last game, and then on the 14th, she also went below her line, but we can see those are both over 6.5. I do believe that this being such a pivotal game in terms of survival in the playoffs, that Alyssa Thomas will go over that 6.5 assists. If you feel even more confident in her production and that she's going to rise to the occasion and get her average assists, then feel free to adjust this 6.5 and leave it at its normal line at 8.5, or maybe even if you want to go just a little bit more risky, adjust this line to the 7.5. I feel that the safe play, with the playoffs being so volatile and there being so much variance, I prefer the 6.5 based on the experience so far in the playoffs. Now, if you're rocking with this play, smash that like button and comment your favorite pick tonight. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's slate. Our second play for today is going to be Jonquel Jones going higher than 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, if you watched last game, the first half in terms of our prop for Jonquel Jones, very sweaty in the beginning because she was very aggressive offensively. She was scoring at will. It was one of her highest early outputs so far this season. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the game got out of hand pretty fast. But if they stay close to Phoenix, I think Jonquel Jones would have had a monster stat line, especially with Breanna Stewart battling that knee injury that she suffered in game 1. They are looking to throw the ball in the paint to Jonquel Jones to get her rolling. She played her rebound line several times in terms of the under, and she has gone over that a few times, which has killed us. She has been just aggressive on the boards. She is running in and trying to get every advantage that she can. And again, being game 3, do or die, I think that she is going to put on one of her best performances in terms of just hustle. If she gets above 9-10 rebounds and double digits in points and just 2 assists, she easily cashes this line. I was looking at the baselines for her points on Underdog, and we could see that it's at 13.5. So just doing some kind of simple math, let's say that they put this at the 13.5 because it's expected that she would score 13. Then we have 13 here. They have the assist at 2.5, and then they have the rebounds at 9.5. That will put us over 22 combined points, rebounds, and assists, which is why I chose that line of 22.5, higher than 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I just kind of combined all 3 of those stats because you see they have it at 25.5, and if you add all those up, it's below that. But with this being that game 3 and being volatile, variance so far this playoffs, especially with Jonquel Jones, I felt a little bit more comfortable playing it at 22.5. And you can see that most places aren't even giving you that line because it's so favorable, which is why I felt the best with this line. Again, I told you that she went off early on in this last game. She had just in the, 22 minutes. She only played 22 minutes because it was a blowout, and she still had 21 points, rebounds, and assists combined. So imagine if she plays her normal output, I think that she would easily cash this line. We can look at the matchup data and see that the rebounds allowed is the most favorable component, and she has been getting in the last 2 games. She's had 12 rebounds and 13 rebounds, and then averaged about 7 points in the last 2 games. But again, she hasn't been playing as much due to the blowout in the first game. This game is where we used the rebound stat, and it kind of killed us because of the overtime. So if this game is just as tight as the first one, I think that she's going to eclipse that 22.5. We can see on the season, we're looking at just those last few games, but if we look on the season overall, she's averaged 24 points, rebounds, and assists, and has a median of 24 rebounds and assists, cashing the 22.5 line 20 out of 33 times this season. Then if we look at the head-to-head, it's about 50% rate, cashing this line in the last 2 years, 4 out of 8 times, on an average of 22 and a median of 22 as well. Now, if you are more concerned about the more recent data and don't want to play this over, you rather use the original line, then take it at 25.5 and then maybe just play the lower. Just a suggestion. Again, do not tell me blindly. Use your own research and data to make your best decisions. These are just the best plays for me for today's Game 3. Quick reminder, Betr is one of the best places right now to build your bankroll. They've got you covered with $10 free and a 50% deposit match up to $200 using code DIME. Or you can hit up Underdog and play $5 to get $50 in bonus funds. Remember, if you send me the sign-up screenshot at picksandrolldfs@gmail.com, I'll give you a free month in my VIP on Winnable. Keep in mind, these free plays are just that, free plays. They may not cash all the time, but I promise you, we are building the role in the VIP. Join now. Additionally, Betr is giving you a free pick right now for new users. Patrick Mahomes only needs to have 1 passing yard to win. You add that to one of our plays for today. Easy way to build that role. All right, our last play for today is going to be Satou Sabally going higher than 12.5 points. Again, not taking the original line, adjusting it a bit, which is why you see that there aren't options for looking at line comparisons because no one's offering this line. This would be a crazy line to offer in the opinions of a lot of these DFS platforms and sports books, which is why I believe this is one of the best and safest plays for today. Playing a little conservative in the playoffs to just build a little roll and, build that streak again. Now we can see in terms of points for forwards, Liberty are ranked 4th in points allowed, allowing 34.2, which gives us a favorable matchup there in terms of points allowed for Satou Sabally. Is one of the people that Alyssa Thomas likes to dish the ball off to when she gets double-teamed driving to the paint, because Satou usually drives down the opposite side or rotates through. Easy drop-off point for her. She also has no problem hitting a couple threes. Easy way for her to get to that 13. Now we can see in the last, again, we'll look at the last 5 just because it's the playoffs and it gives us a little bit of data in terms of the last few games. We can see that in the blowout, she did cash this line, hitting 15 points. And then the overtime game was not her best game at all and was still pretty near this line at 9 points. Now, if we look at the year overall, we can see that she has cashed this line of 12.5 points, 28 out of 41 times for a 68% rate and averaging 16 in that time span and a median of 15. Now, if we look head to head, we can see that she's cashed this line 50% of the time over the last 2 years. Still, again, over our expected line of 12.5 with an average of 13. The median of 12, that kind of negates some of these high output games that she's had. Now, again, we can see that in terms of points to forwards, especially in the last few games of the playoffs, Phoenix forwards have been cashing their lines. A lot of these have been the unders. We're not looking for that solely because I dropped their lines. I dropped this line lower as well, which gives us a higher probability for success. Now, you can see that they're cashing the unders pretty often, which is why they're saying that this is favorable. But we dropped this at such a low point that I believe she would easily be able to cash this, which is also why you don't see any other options for any sports books or DFS platforms. Again, I really like higher 12.5 points for Satou Sabally. As always, huge shout out to Outlier because this is what I use every day for stats and hit rates. One of the cool things here, if you do have Profit X, you can see that this play of over 12.5 would be an EV or plus EV play. You can see that the odds there would be plus 115, which is crazy because if you look at Pinnacle, which is one of the sharpest books out there, and this is why Outlier is so cool, you can see that Pinnacle has this play at minus 121. They show you here because of the DVIC process and the line comparison to make this or show why this is a plus EV play. FanDuel would have this at minus 128, DraftKings at minus 125. You can see that this is a large favorite everywhere else except for Profit X. Again, further emphasizing why this play is a solid play, but also showing you why Outlier is so great. If you want to try out a free trial of Outlier, check them out at outlier.bet. Use code LOB at sign-up. And as always, don't forget to track your slips and your wins on Pikkit. It is free. Use code LOB at sign-up. It's the place that all sharp bettors use to stay sharp and keep their record clean. As you can see, in September, we've been doing a great job. Pretty good ROI. We're looking to keep that going today. Again, use code LOB when you sign up for Pikkit. All right, that is today's 3 plays. We have Alyssa Thomas going higher than 6.5 assists, Jonquel Jones going higher than 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Satu Sabali going higher than 12.5 points. Manage that bankroll. Keep building that roll. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.